Welcome, I'm Kinetic Symphony. This is Dave. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the supernatural. Case file number 1782, written by O.K. Huckleberry, 1588. Clarksville chill, when time stands still. This happened years ago. It was a weekend and I was in the kitchen getting myself some coffee. I then sat at the kitchen table. A song came on the radio, Drift Away by Dobie Gray, as I was at the kitchen table. I decided I would check to see if the laundromat was open. It is almost straight ahead on another street from the front of the trailer I was living in. I went outside to do this and had to walk about 20 feet before I had a view of the laundromat, to see if the lady's car that worked there showed up yet. It was there. I then go to the living room, sit on the couch, and put on my shoes and I finish my coffee. I then go to my bedroom at the opposite end of the trailer from where the kitchen is, to get my dirty clothes. I then grab the laundry detergent that was in the bathroom. I leave and I have to walk by 3 trailers, lengthwise, and cross 2 roads inside the trailer park. Then I had to cross one more street after leaving the trailer park, not before waiting for a car to go by. I go in and get change from a machine inside, then put detergent and clothes in the washer and put coins in. Then I leave and go back to the trailer I live in. I walk in and the same song is playing and continues for at least another minute. This wasn't the only time something strange happened when I lived there. 2 other times I could see where everything looked frozen in the distance. One time the traffic looked like it wasn't moving even though there was no reason for it. Then it looks like it's moving slow. Then all of a sudden, when it reaches me, traffic is going fast. Another time people were frozen at a distance as I was pumping gas. I think another man noticed it also. That other man pumping gas kept pumping when his tank was full. It made a big puddle of gas on the ground before I told him. This was along Fort Campbell Boulevard in Clarksville, Tennessee, near the Kentucky border. Case notes file 1782. Clarksville chill, when time stands still. I think time events are one of the more interesting kind of glitches because they're infrequent and I don't believe they really indicate server instability. Or if they do, it's manageable instability. It's not like dead pixels in the sky where I think it's literally total server collapse or where the sky blinks out. Actually, I think they could be related. Maybe this is just, a tangent, but bear with me. Maybe the dead pixel in the sky, if you were inside one when they formed, then you would perceive it as all the sound and light going out, like people do, like the sun blinking out. It's not really the sun, it's everything. So that's what a dead pixel is. It's just a smaller event. But when they're larger, so it almost looks like a black hole from outside. But back to this, time events, I think maybe our server failure or server slowdown. Sometimes, you're using your computer and it's just slower for a little bit of time. Maybe that's what this is. It's just the server trying to catch up, which is terrifying in the context of being on a road and cars are kind of frozen or moving slowly. And then boom, they just start going back at full speed. Don't stand on roads if you see things are slower than usual because they'll pick back up most likely. It could also be related to quantum immortality, where you're still consciously aware of the shift and you're just ported over to a different place and there's no buffer for this time for whatever reason. They do it seamlessly by slowing down time. But I don't think that applies in this case because someone was seeing you pumping gas as well in that one time. So no, I think in this case it really was your local region has a faulty server that slows down sometimes. Maybe they'll replace it eventually in the real world and then it'll never happen again. That's my guess. Although I admit it doesn't account for everything because sometimes there are stories where people experience slowing time, but only them. They're at a restaurant or they're in their home with their wife and time slows down, but the wife never experiences it. So unless they're an NPC, no soul, they're just part of the simulation. Maybe, but I don't know. Maybe there's another missing part that we don't have just yet. Case file number 1783, written by Negative Teacher 867. Coke gone awry in a night of grocery lies. When I was away at college, one night I had Chinese food and half a bottle of Coke. I put the other half in my mini fridge in my bedroom. The next night, my 2 roommates and I went grocery shopping and I came back with a brand new bottle. I then went to my bedroom and put the new bottle away, taking out my leftovers and the half bottle of Coke. As I heated up my food in the kitchen, I went back to my room to put more things away. When I returned to the dining room, the half bottle of Coke was gone. I thought maybe I got confused and put it away, so I checked my fridge, and it was just the brand new full bottle. My roommates were in the kitchen when I had brought my leftovers, but they remember the half Coke being there too. We were all really confused. I had them help me look in case I was missing something. We started to feel crazy, and I started to think they were pranking me. We were tearing apart our entire apartment because we couldn't understand. Not in cabinets, garbage cans, nowhere. I started to spiral, and they assured me it's probably somewhere so random, and that you'll find it when we move out in May. To this day, we never found that bottle. They remember it, and we are still very close friends. This was about 3 years ago. I think about it constantly, and I've made them both swear up and down they never touched the bottle. This seems like a silly story, but it irks me to my core. I am convinced it is some kind of glitch. Case out to file 1783. Coke gone awry in night of grocery lies. Racking my brain for stories of DOP? Lately, maybe always, it's very uncommon for the items not to return. Just realizing that now. But in these stories, it's almost always, okay, I lost an item, months later, or the same day, or years later, came back. But in this case, even after 3 years, it still never came back, which is peculiar. I was speculating that perhaps it has to do with our focus on the item, and if the item is really unimportant and we never think about it, then the managers of the server, they don't really care because, you're not thinking about it, so it's not a priority. If they have 1,000 pounds of gold in their vault and that disappears, I think the person owning that gold is gonna think about it 24/7. So that's a top priority to fix. But if it's a Coke bottle, sure. If they bring it back, you wouldn't drink it anyway, so it's probably better that they don't. You would have more questions if they returned it than if they didn't. Case file number 1784, written by Suspicious Kazoo. The Bonkers case of the 5-minute chase. How I got home when I was 3. I was at the park near a school with my great aunts and my brothers. I got bored after a while and told my aunts I wanted to go home. They said that we were going home very soon. Me, being 3 and a brat, decided to walk home by myself. I remembered how we got to the park, so I decided to go back without telling anyone. As I was walking, I remembered walking across a particularly busy intersection. There was a massive red truck that I walked in front of. I walk up the block to my house and walk in through the front door. Entire trip took under 5 minutes tops. My mother sees me and is extremely confused. She kept asking how I got home, and I told her that I walked. This seemed to confuse her more, and she didn't understand how I got there. My aunts panicked because they couldn't find me. My mom tells them that I am home and all is well. Still, everyone is confused. I forgot about this memory until years later, and when I remembered, I was just as confused. Why? There was no park 5 minutes from my house. It would be 10 blocks, and a 3-year-old couldn't have walked that so quickly. There was also no major street that I would have to cross. I would have been walking alongside it. But I was at the park with my family that day. To this day, no one knows how I got home. It shouldn't have been possible for me to get home so quickly. There was no park in the location that I was describing. The story stays the same, but none of it is possible. I crossed a street that didn't exist in under 5 minutes when it should have taken me much longer. I will never know how I got home, but I would like to. Case out to file 1784, the Bonkers case of the 5-minute chase. So I want to say space-time portal. That's the thing that fits the most, at an initial glance. But then you're mentioning this intersection, which you don't have to cross, but you did. After you crossed the intersection and you didn't have to. I mean, you were 3, so the memories of this could be fuzzy. Maybe you did cross, the guardian angel was trying to keep you safe, so they opened a space-time portal to help you get home quicker. Because, obviously a 3-year-old getting lost is not a good thing. But that's probably what happened, and I think to explain these space-time portals, having entities that have managerial powers over the simulation, that's a pretty good explanation as far as I can go. Or maybe the government too. Maybe they're even aware of guardian angels, thinking of them as aliens. They could even be aliens. Maybe it isn't the developers of the simulation. We could still be in a simulation, but it's really just alien players that are here observing us and see like, oh yeah, maybe we want to assign ourselves to individual humans and try to keep them safe. Who knows? If they have cloaking technology, anti-gravity and all that, they could be hovering above us all the time. But it would also explain why sometimes people aren't saved. Because if they are just aliens, they don't have omniscience, they can't be aware of every single thing that happens, and they can't be in every place that happens. If they're developers, managers in the server, well, they probably would be aware of everything, so that would explain some plot holes in this theory. But however you got home, it has to be that someone was looking out for you. Now time for the quote of the day. Christopher McCandles. Rather than love, than money, than faith, than fame, than fairness, give me truth. Yeah. Truth is, it's a kind of currency, you could think of it as, or a reputation, where if you're always truthful, well, barring some white lies. Am I fat? No, honey, you're not fat at all, etc., etc. Important truths, let's say that. Truths that really matter. If you're not one to stretch the truth or commit fraud or lie, just be honest about the situation. Never trying to up yourself beyond your station, beyond what's happening. Artificially, people will gravitate towards people like that because they're kind of rare. I think most people do lie to some extent to benefit themselves. And, often for normal people, it's nothing major. But still, if you have a really, really deeply, almost perversely honest person, you want to be around them because they're reliable, they're trustworthy, there's stability in them. And that is something we all crave. So be that person. Be the honest friend. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.